greatest common factor method. The first thing that you're going to do is take down the title, the model problem, and before you do anything else, well, that you have to do, and then you can move on. Great, so let's move on. That means that you've written this stuff down and we can actually keep going. So the question that I'm asking myself is, what's the greatest thing that each of these has in common? Well, why do we even care about that? Because we're trying to... Yes, that's right. The question asks us to find the roots. So we're trying to find the roots. And that's why we care about the greatest common factor. Now, what's the most that each of these terms has in common? So pause the video, figure it out on your own. What's the most that they have in common? Have you figured it out, Sophia? Okay. That's right, it's 2x squared. So what that means is I'm factoring out 2x squared from each term. That means I'm going to have x squared left here, and what left everywhere else? You figure it out. Furman, did you figure it out? Good. Well done. So now that we're at this step, I've factored out the most that I can factor out, and now I have to use another method to do this stuff. There are tons of methods. There's the whole negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There's the Xbox method, and there are many other methods to use as well. Factor this portion out. Have you actually factored this portion out, Ashley? No, you haven't yet, so then keep on pausing the video until you finish. Okay. Now that you have, you can look. It looks just like this. Have we finished the problem? No, we haven't finished the problem. We still have to find the roots. So we said all of these terms equal to 0. So set them all equal to 0 and find the roots. Do you have a question? Yes.
How do you put that, the exponential?
How do you put it? What do you mean?
What do you do?
You don't put anything. You just save it as whatever you want to. Is this the first one you've done? You shouldn't call it... Look, here's the thing. Let me be real with you.
It's not saving. It's like finding the...
Well, that's good. That's fine. But you don't really want to call the y-list deaths. Look, this is fine. An argument, that means you have a 0 in here. You need to get rid of any zeros that are in the y column. And you should rename this. Don't call it deaths. Call it like, is this West African deaths? Then call it like w.deaths. Guinea deaths. So call it g.deaths. Because otherwise, it's going to screw you up. You're not going to be able to follow it along. You want to keep everything in that same page. Yep.
So apparently I've been doing it wrong the entire time. So you told me that multiply the a times b, and then the x be the r?
No, there's no x. X is x. X is like a variable.
Oh, so it's just 77 then
Yes,
x
times that to the x power. Yes, that's it. Good. So these are the roots that I got. And notice that, yes, I have to do something with that x squared term. I have to. I set equal to 0 and then find that, yes, of course, x is just 0. So to finish the problem up, I order it, put in my brackets x equals 0, 2, and 3, and I'm done. Okay, so you should summarize what we just did, and then you can write down this practice problem. Write down this practice problem and then use that summary to work through the practice problem. So if you've pressed play, that means you've thought through and worked through this problem already. That means you've found the greatest common factor already. Have you actually done that? That's what I thought. You haven't. So pause the video again and then actually find the greatest common factor. So notice that here, again, I'm trying to find the x-intercepts. Pressing play means that you found the greatest common factor. That means you've looked at each of these terms and thought, what is the most that they each have in common? Perhaps you notice that they at least have x cubed in common, but is that all? No, it's not all. They also have something else in common. What else do they have in common? They have 4 in common. Good. So as you can see, once you factor that out, it ends up looking like this. Again, you need to check now to see if this term factors. If this term factors, then you also need to factor that. So use another method to do that polynomial. If you're pressing play, that means you found the factors to that middle term. Okay, good. So that's exactly what it looks like. Set each of these equal to 0 and find your x-intercepts. Okay, only press play if you've actually found the roots. Anthony, did you actually find the roots? No. Okay, well, press pause then. Okay, now you can check. So now I've just got to order these roots. 0, say negative 1/3, 0, and 7/2. And you're done.